Youngpreneurs Podcast, episode number 116, with your host, Victor Ahipeni. What is up, world? Another day, and of course, another podcast. I'm so stoked that you've decided to take the time out of your day to have a listen to this. I appreciate it. I know it's valuable. You could be anywhere, but you are here, and you have picked the right place to be, because today we're talking to Ryan Morabito from New York, and he is the CEO and founder of Dapp, and that's a mobile app startup that is making it easy for you to connect with people and have fun. I think it is a super cool idea. I think by the time this has come out, he is over in Israel at learning from a scholarship about entrepreneurship. He's been involved in incubators, but I won't spoil too much of the story. And this is, I think, an app that can potentially go worldwide and revolutionize the way that we some cool resources like the 4 video series that I created on how you can start a business online for $0 in just 7 days. And this has made me and many others many thousands of dollars and can do the exact same for you. So jump over to iTunes, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, but we're going to jump in. There's a ton of value in here. I really enjoyed my chat with Ryan Morabito from Dapp. So grab your pen, paper, and as always, keep living life on your own terms.
You're listening to the Youngpreneurs Podcast, the #1 resource online for under 35-year-olds, where we chat twice a week to the most inspiring entrepreneurs in the world. We have it all. If you're looking for inspiration, guidance, or actionable tips to help you transition from that job into a business, or if you're ready to take that business to a whole new level, then this is the place to be. Get ready to live life on your own terms.
Youngpreneurs, what is up? Welcome to another episode of the Youngpreneurs Podcast. As always, I'm Victor Ahipeni, your host, and today we're coming to you via Brisbane all the way over to New York City. I've got Ryan Morabito on the show, and he's CEO of Dapp, and that's a new mobile app startup that is making it easier for you, all of you out there, to connect with people and have some fun. So the idea of Dapp was started when Ryan moved to New York, but I won't take too much of the thunder there. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks again. I'm really happy to be here. That was a great intro.
Let's start before that. What did your life look like? Like, when you were a super young entrepreneur, or when you were high school or earlier, what was life? Was it always channeled towards university? Were you always going to be an entrepreneur? Was it something that kind of just stumbled upon you?
Okay, great question. We'll start with, I guess, like childhood, like a quick thing. When I was younger, I was always going into imaginative kind of programs. We had this thing at our school called Destination Imagination. I was very involved with that, and it was pretty much just thinking. It was a competition where you thought creatively and you thought of solutions for problems. So even at an early age, I was very involved, and that was a huge influence in my life. But fast forward to when I moved to New York, before I started really, working at Dapp, I just moved to New York and I needed a job, and I started chopping salad for a living. I was working at Just Salad for this company in New York that just, they're a salad company. So I was working there, and I was just making minimum wage, just thinking like, man, there has to be another way I can kind of follow my own dreams. So I quickly started finding resources in terms of where I could go to like kind of pursue my dreams. And that led me to the Zahn Center of Innovation, which is a center at my school, the City College of New York, where young entrepreneurs can really they can come with their basic idea for a project and really develop it with professionals and make it into an actual business. And so that's kind of a quick synopsis of where I've been and where I am right now with Dapp and where we're going to go with that idea.
Wicked. So when you were saying you're working with salad, Obviously, not overly fulfilled. You don't make You don't make friends with salad. But with that, you're saying you're looking to fulfill your dreams. What were those dreams then?
So,
and have they changed or?
So yeah, when I moved to New York, it kind of plays into the whole vision of the DAP. I kind of, me and my roommate, we were like, I remember when we decided we were going to move to New York, we were so excited because we had this idea of New York that we would make friends immediately and we would be doing all these different things every single day and we'd finally connect with people who share our interests. And when we moved here, we found it was very different. And, working that job, being paid like, working for something that, I believe, like, I thought I was doing a good job at, but it wasn't truly my passion. I started realizing how quickly, my perception of, like, life in New York City was in terms of how much different it is in reality. So that kind of, inspired me to really think outside the box of, like, okay, how can I take this problem I have and create a solution where I'm still and also incorporate it into like something I can work at. Like, how can I solve this problem that I have and also help other people who might have the same problem? And how can I make a living out of it? So that's kind of what inspired me to really pursue entrepreneurship.
Yeah, nice. And I guess it's not all like Suits and Sex in the City in New York. And when which you probably quickly realized.
No, it's probably I mean, it's pretty different from all the TV for people who think New York is, this crazy just party every day. I mean, it is for some people, but for the rest of us, it's a different place.
What were your first steps to, I guess, starting to get Dapp off the ground?
So what we did, I was like, okay, I have this idea. I want to make an application that connects different groups of people together who share similar interests so they can connect with each other and hang out. So I had this idea, and I started trying to find people who are interested in that because I needed a team. I wanted a team. I needed a team. So I started just approaching my friends who I know were creative types, and I got a few of them to get on board. And then we applied to, like I said before, the Zahn Center with this competition to, you go with your idea and you can apply with it and they will help you grow your idea and actually make your application, they'll work with you. They won't do it for you, but they'll give you the resources, professional mentorship, meetings with one-on-one professionals and just workshops and helping you grow your idea. So I did that with my teammates. We did that in the incubator program, and that was from January to May of this year. So we did that all that time. We spent just really creating a strong brand, developing our idea, interviewing people, making sure that we're getting the right data. Are we building the product people want? Do people actually need this? Those are kind of the questions we had to answer during this whole process. And at times it was very difficult. It's not easy. And, I saw all these shows make it seem like entrepreneurship is like, this very easy thing that people do, and people are always successful. You never hear about all the failures that happen with entrepreneurship and all the struggles. And I thought that was pretty eye-opening for me, is really seeing like how stressful and how hard it could be at times.
Yeah, and that's something that, 90% of tech startups I saw the other day fail.
Exactly.
And but all we see is Uber, Airbnb, whatever, Tinder, whatever the latest fad is. So it's all the glitz and the glamour, but even those businesses had some pretty ridiculously hard times to get to where they are. So I mean, it's cool seeing that other side of it, not just the product on the back end, and it's going to be cool being able to watch that grow. So let's talk about that. What is the problem that you solve? Like, how do you differentiate yourself from, say, Meetup, or obviously Tinder's a bit different because you're only meeting the opposite sex, or you hope the opposite sex, and how do you differentiate yourself from something like Meetup or other local community hubs?
So that's a great question. So when I found this problem. I can't find people to hang out with. Me and my roommate are having trouble finding other groups. We tried Meetup. The problem we had with Meetup, and a lot of people after doing our research have, Meetup is very specific. So there's a specific interest that you're going to, and it's a specific event. So we found that we don't want to go to this event that's 2 weeks in the future because we want to do something right now. We're not looking to hang out 2 weeks from now to go get a drink at a bar. We're looking who wants to go get a drink right now. And we would look for things like that, like interests we have. Oh, we want to play GameCube tonight. We go on Meetup. There are meetups for video gamers, video gaming nerds who want to, hang out and play video games, but their events are all very far in the future. There are specific rules for every meetup. So with Meetup, the main differentiator for us is that we're more casual and we're immediate socialization. We're not 2 weeks from now. We're, hey, who wants to go hang out right now? Let's do it. Let's not wait. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's very casual and it's immediate socialization. And for something like Tinder, I can't say I didn't try Tinder. But when you're trying to find, a casual friendship, Tinder's not really the place you go to.
Yeah.
Tinder is great for finding, people to pretty much hook up with. It's very aesthetics based. So I'm swiping right to like the girls that I think are hot. I'm not really interested in, making with them because Tinder is a place where you go to meet, people to hook up with. With that being said, I know that they are introducing Tinder Social. I actually think that they're doing a pilot program in Australia, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah. So that's that's going to...
I don't think I want to get caught with Tinder on my phone. My my other half probably would be too stoked.
See, exactly. That's a huge issue with that we found is that people associate Tinder with just like that very, basic physical attraction. That's the only thing really bringing you together is, do you think this person's attractive or not? It's not, does this person have the same interests as me? Are they cool? I've known that people have made friendships from Tinder. It's not a great amount of people. And I know people have, actually found future boyfriends or even girlfriends and even spouses on Tinder. But that's not really what we want to try and do. We're trying to create casual relationships between people where it's not very, it's not very stressful that they feel like they have to, go on a date and, maybe have to see them again. It's just who wants to hang out on our schedule and wants to do what we want to do. It's very low key and very casual. And we think that Tinder does a great job at creating dating relationships, but we're not a dating app. We are a social app. We are a casual app.
So what's your planned monetization strategy for the app?
Okay, yeah, that's awesome question because that has been one of the questions we've been asked so many times. We plan on using local businesses to monetize. So what we will do with this is we'll charge local businesses a fee of $5 per month. So what does that give them? That's a question we're always asked. This gives them the opportunity to post their spontaneous events. So if they, like tomorrow, we're going to, every Thursday I go to Wing Night because, it's 50-cent wings and it's a great deal. So tomorrow, like if a business wanted to post that spontaneous event, they could go on our app and post that and say it could show what other groups are going. So it helps drive foot traffic and as well as group promotion. So they're able to post any group promotion. So say they Grill on the Hill, which is a bar down the street, posts a promotion. If you and your friends meet up with another group and you go to our place of business, we'll give you all 10% off your discount. So that's kind of how we're monetizing is through these group promotions and through these spontaneous events. This subscription service to these local businesses will help drive traffic to their place of business which will also drive up their sales.
Yeah. And so how are you looking to get these businesses on board? As in, Is it going to be a door-to-door knocking process, or have you got some like not user acquisition but monetization acquisition plan in place?
So yeah,
That seems like the hard bit. I mean, obviously getting users is obviously hard, but finding people in each area is going to be a challenge. But I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, we thought that in the beginning, we're still developing the product, so it would be difficult. I actually, to bring it kind of back a little bit, I approached the CEO of Just Salad. I actually ended up working there quite some time, and I worked my way up from being just a salad chopper to actually being a marketing assistant. So towards the end of my time there, I met with him and we gave our pitch, or 5-minute pitch, to him because, they have a lot of locations in New York City. And I asked him, would this be something you'd be interested in? Would you want to get Just Salad on board with, paying our subscription fee? And he said, yeah, I mean, once you guys have the product built, I definitely would be interested in, seeing how many users you have and how much that would drive traffic. So we definitely have people that are interested. Right now, we're focusing on businesses that we have good relationships with. These are businesses we go to often, that we enjoy, and we talk to the employees, and we're more or less good friends with them. So those are about 20 to 25 that we're looking at once we have the application up and running. So those are kind of who we're talking to and building those relationships with. So it is very in-person. I think that it's important to really get those in-person relationships going before you actually just email them, because I feel like emails are just very cold and you don't really get to know somebody that way.
Yeah, I agree. What's your user acquisition plan and launch strategy?
So currently we're using our website, our social media, as well as our weekly newsletter to gain users. So we're doing this, we've divided up our project plan for the summer for four product sprints. So our first version was very basic, and we have been manually testing that with users and also growing that with, asking them to sign up. So we're doing it in terms of, promoting on social, saying, come get, food with the Dapp team, asking our followers, like, what did they like to do? Kind of engaging with them now so that when we do launch, we plan to launch at the end of August. Once we do launch, we'll have that kind of following where we've built up this brand over time that we can really just promote our actual app. So right now, we're just getting to know our users and asking them to interact with our brand before our launch.
Yeah, which is perfect to find out what your users want and then make it to that, rather than make it thinking that's what they want, which is very smart.
Yeah, exactly. I've learned that it's, through reading all these books on entrepreneurship, it's the lean startup of like doing everything at once is kind of, how you should do it. So just like talking with, we don't have a product yet. We don't have an app, but we're still talking with our users. We're still giving them updates on what we're doing as a team, because we want to create those relationships now before, actually launching a product, because we do value their input and their insight, because it's helped grown our company and has helped us take different directions on where we should go.
Yeah. And for those out there listening, obviously we've got people of all different knowledge bases. Product sprints. Do you want to run people through product sprint?
Sorry, I should have clicked.
No, you're all right. I know when you get immersed in it, it just becomes breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, no, I mean, before I didn't know any of this prior to this whole experience, but product sprints are basically you take your project down, like your whole project, okay, you break that down with like, critical path. And this is not fun to do, but you pretty much take your idea, okay, I want to get this app built, and you break it down into specific tasks. So, okay, if we want to get the app built, what features do we need to build? And then once you map up all those features and then break those down into tasks, like specific tasks, then you prioritize and say, okay, we're going to get this chunk done in these 4 weeks and this chunk done in these 4 weeks, and so on and so forth. You could break that down into as many different sprints, but it's around 4 that makes sense, for at least for us. So we've broken our project down, that entire app, into 4 different sections. So that's just an organizational way that we are managing ourselves and working with our development team to really get this built.
And what does your team look like at the moment?
So currently there is myself. I'm the CEO of the team. There is my teammate Anya. She is the lead designer and head of product. There is James, who is our iOS developer, and we've just brought on board Jackson, who is our Android developer.
Nice. And you were telling me before we got started that you're off to Israel soon. How did that all come about?
It's really exciting. So I was offered my program at the Zahn Center. They promoted this scholarship to go to Israel. And of course, I jumped right on it. I mean, the free trip to study entrepreneurship in Israel, I could not pass up because, Israel is like the hub of innovation in the world. If Silicon Valley is, the hub of innovation in America, then Israel is where you should be if you're talking globally. So, I applied to the scholarship. I had an interview and they accepted me. So, I was like, okay, great, let's do this. And I bought a ticket and I'll be leaving Saturday.
Nice. So that sounds super exciting for people who are sitting there thinking, like, you just explained it pretty well. Like, Israel, like, really? It's a hub for entrepreneurs. It's the hub for startups. So I was talking to, in Australia, we got a Shark Tank show, and one of the guys who was on it gave a talk the other day, and I was there, and he said he's got a vision to turn Australia, an Australian city, Brisbane, into a startup mecca. That's what he wants to put Australia on the map, because he gave the stats, and it was ridiculous per amount of startups per 100,000 in Australia versus, and then he gave Israel, and it was unbelievable. Like, it's like every man and his dog's got a startup over there, which is pretty crazy. But to be immersed in that and see what's working and what's not and where trends are going, it can only be a good thing for you. So it sounds fairly exciting.
Yeah.
With your team, how are you guys going about managing what you do? Are you using any online tools, anything that is helping that stay efficient? And are you meeting up? Are you still working out of the incubator? What does it look like day to day?
So right now, we actually were accepted. So after the incubator concluded, we were accepted into the accelerator program at the center. So that we are given a stipend to work for the summer. So we're all, making sure that we can pay our minimum wage, like our basic living expenses, my apartment and so forth. So we are working at the accelerator right now. And in terms of managing the team, pretty much we have like a meeting in the morning, just going over like what we're going to do for that day. And then at the end of the day, like a meeting to really recap and like the next steps. In terms of like project management, I find Asana really helpful. I don't know if people are, I feel like most people are pretty familiar with Asana. It's a online project management tool. I find it very useful to kind of organize things, and there's like a lot of tasks and you can check them off, and it's just very easy to, lay everything out in there.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of the things that, having that way of being able to track. So you go to Israel and life just carries on, which is the cool thing about the online world.
Yeah. So exactly with that, we've scheduled our meetings around the time zones. So like, they'll be coming in at 9 a.m. and it'll be 5 p.m. So that's perfect because that's right before dinner in Israel. So we'll be able to have our meetings then, and nothing really should change because we're all very connected now. That's one thing about the digital age. It's not hard to really stay connected even across the world.
Yeah, well, we're proof of that right now.
So just let's delve into the last few questions more about you. Like, what does, if you're on your deathbed, what does success look like to you? Like, if you're looking back 100 years from now, going, "Oh, I had a pretty good run at it. It was I'm pretty happy with what I've ticked off."
Wow. If I was to answer that, I would say that for me, success has always been I want to create something that gives back to the world and really just makes it a happier place. I know that's an audacious goal, but that's my goal for life. Is just create something that do something. Like I'm always about creating. So as long as it makes some sort of difference in somebody's life, I think that I'll feel pretty successful.
And outside of the startup world, what keeps you busy? Like, what do you do?
Oh, outside of the startup world, I love to go hiking. I love to play guitar. I love to just explore New York City. I mean, I've been here for 2 years, and I feel like every time I go out, I'm in a different place. I love just hanging out with my friends. That's pretty much how I keep busy. I love to read, but pretty much I just like to do as many things as I can because I always want to just have an experience, even if it's something I'm not good at. I love just doing whatever I can think of at the time, at the moment. I try and live very spontaneously, if that can summarize my life outside the startup world.
Summarizes your app fairly well. So on that point, what is a couple of books that have maybe influenced you a bit or that you've really enjoyed recently that you think others might who are listening?
Oh, definitely. The one that really influenced me is The Power of Habit. I think I have it on my bookshelf. It's by Charles Duhigg. I hope I pronounced that right, but that's a really great one. Of course, I'm sure this is, the book that everyone's told to read, The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. That's another good one. 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. I really enjoy that. And in terms of like personal reading, I love to read Charles Bukowski. I think I've read every novel he's written. I think he's hilarious. And he's kind of like, I don't know, it's just really entertaining. I try and read as many books as I think would help like me as an individual and for my business, but I think just expanding, just reading as much as you can, because you never know where you could incorporate that into your own like work life. It's always good to get those kind of different perspectives.
Yeah, well, we talked with Cam Gallagher on an earlier show, and he works on mindset for entrepreneurs, and we're talking about the importance of that. Like you can know all these intrinsics, but if you've got too much self-doubt or procrastination or these other things that are creeping in, they'll usually creep into all aspects of your life. And it's often the aspect that we all want to learn more and more and more, but we often negate the mindset or the habits and all these different things that are surrounded in it.
Yeah, I definitely think that, like, back to the reading, The Power of the Habit was really powerful to me. It's really good to really start thinking about how could you make yourself better. I think that's a huge part of entrepreneurship, is not just, doing a company and making a fun little app, but actually just like living like an entrepreneur and actually asking yourself questions like, how can I make myself better? How can I do things better? And ultimately, how can I be a better person? I think that's a huge part of entrepreneurship.
So on that, what's your best habit and what's your worst habit, or the habit that you're trying to improve the most?
Oh boy. I think we'll start with my worst habit. My worst habit is definitely being unorganized. I don't know what happens every I clean my room, and then at the end of the week it's just a disaster again. So that's something that I need to re-look at, the power of habit, to help strengthen that. But I think a really good habit I have is my ability to kind of just take a moment and listen to people while they're speaking and making sure that I'm taking in what they're saying. It's something I worked on because I feel like I didn't do that before, but after reading that book, that was a pretty good for, helping me with developing, because I kind of looked at what are my weaknesses, and I thought that, okay, I don't really, sometimes I'll like zone out and like I won't pay attention to people when they're, giving a presentation or something, but I've really worked on paying attention to what people are saying, and I think that's probably one of my best habits now, is my attention to like focus in on a person and make sure I understand everything they're saying to me.
Yeah, nice. And final question. 2 years' time, what's Dapp doing and what are you doing?
2 years from now, we will be not only on the App Store, we will be the go-to app for when you and your friends are bored and have nothing to do. Will be the first thing you think about is going on Dapp and checking out all the millions of users that we have. So that's where we will be. Where I will be hopefully in my corporate office, not in my apartment, managing my team and making sure that we stick true to our vision. And also, I'd hope to be helping my family out and helping them reach their dreams too.
Wicked. Well, I just want to welcome you to the Youngpreneurs family. If people want to check out more about Dapp, get in touch with you, or follow your journey, where can they go and what can they do? Oh, yeah. If you guys want to check out Dapp and see where we're going, please go to our website at dappmeup.com. That's DAPPMEUP.com. And if you want to check us out on Instagram or Twitter, it's at DappUsUp. So check us out on Instagram and Twitter. We're always doing different promotions of like what we're doing and also holding our own events. So yeah, try and sign up to be a beta tester. And we promise that we'll reward you guys at our website. So thank you. Wicked. So I will link all of that at passiveincomeyoung.com. I look forward to catching up in a couple of years' time and seeing how awesome Dapp is. Yeah, no, this was great. You're awesome. We hope to really make sure that we stick true to what we said today. So thank you so much for this interview. It's been awesome. Thanks for listening to the Youngpreneurs podcast. This was proudly brought to you by the Podcast Institute, the #1 training resource to take your business from chasing leads to leads chasing you, and from an absolute amateur to a full-blown authority. If you're looking to take your business to the next level, then a podcast is the obvious answer. You can get national and global exposure in a very fast time, and it's just exactly what I've done with this podcast. So if you want to find out more, get a checklist on how you can get started for under $60, and to find out more through a small training video that I've prepared for you all, then please check out passiveincomeyoung.com/podcast training.